Hello, it's Matt Kendall here today. We're just going to do an interview with Debbie. Debbie's somebody who I worked with. We did our final session a couple of weeks ago, I think, didn't we?
Last week,
yeah, we did 2 sessions, and our last session was, I say, 2 weeks ago. And it was getting over an old relationship, you know, a marriage, but the partner's still in your life. You know, you share, you have a child together. You know, you have a child together.
yeah.
So, tell me, what were the problems you were experiencing?
Basically, it was irrational anger and dwelling on things that happened years and years ago, and a constant feeling of rising blood pressure every time the thought of going anywhere, any family gatherings, or the thought of having to be, you know, almost in the same room as him, and then the kind of not panic, but thinking that, you know, I'm going to have to speak to him, and what's he going to be like? And I could feel the blood pressure almost rising, and obviously flashbacks as well. So I could be doing something completely unrelated and just remember something from the past, and that would kick off the dwelling on memories again.
Just to sort of fill in a little bit of detail for the people listening, how long have you been separated from this partner?
11 years now.
So 11 years. So although you've been separated from 11 years, and you are in a new relationship now, and that's been, you know, some years, this was still having a sizable impact on your life now. And, you know, obviously going into as much detail, but basically with your current partner, it was still like it was proving to be a challenge having this this thing. But the thing is, like I said, you do have a child together, or a grown-up child, isn't it? It's not like
2.
Yeah, so 2. So you have 2 children together. So it's not like you can completely cut them out of your life. They are still going to be in your life somewhat. And so on like an average week and stuff, how much would these problems like impact your life?
About, I'd say 2 or 3 times a week, because we've got a shared WhatsApp group.
Right.
The children of my children have both got children now, so my daughter set up a WhatsApp group so that she could share photographs, you know, the little ones, and he kept coming back with just comments that just, you know, it's almost one-upmanship all the time, and trying to, you know, I'm the best grandparent type thing, and it just wound me up. But yeah, so at least twice, 2 or 3 times a week generally, and then of course we've got the grandchildren. I've got 3 grandchildren now, so we've got birthdays, Christmas, so it's just starting to be a never-ending cycle of it's getting worse, basically.
Okay. So it's getting worse and worse. So how did you come across me, and why did you reach out for IEMT work on this problem?
I knew I needed to do something about it, because obviously it's just, I recognise that it's irrational, and obviously my daughter mainly was caught in the middle. My son's so laid back, he's almost horizontal, so it was all going on around him without him realising. But I knew I needed to speak to somebody, and I tried counselling years ago, and but it's very difficult to talk about the actual events, so I don't want to go into a room and start telling people about, you know, what's happened. Plus I'd have been in there for years, because there's so much, because we were married for we were married for 22 years, and with children and everything, there's a lot still in my head. So I actually I was looking into counselling, and I've recently kicked off my own hypnotherapy business again. It's been relaunched. I qualified while I was married, and then it kind of hit a bit of a block, because, you know, went a bit, you know, divorce, change of address, another change of address, change of job, and now I'm kind of, you know, I'm going to get back into that again, and because I do enjoy it, and I've kind of kept my hands in, and I thought perhaps I could try something like hypnotherapy, but because the 2 kind of met because I joined a Facebook group, hypnotherapy marketing, because obviously I need to get back into the marketing side of things, and I noticed your IEMT things kept popping up, you know, training in this IEMT, and I started to kind of not look into it. I didn't research it as such, but I put some feelers out, and it's, you know, kind of, has anyone had it? And nobody seemed to, in my other Facebook groups, everyone said, oh no, I haven't heard of that, but I've done EMDR, and that's more for, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but more for kind of depression and almost like CBT. Which,
I'd say EMDR is more based just on trauma and PTSD.
right. But,
from my understanding, I don't know, but that's
yeah,
from my understanding.
But the general consensus, what I was understanding, was you need to be referred by your GP, and it's not something I want to go to the GP with, you know, to discuss my ex. So for the same reason, I didn't really want to go to counselling, because you just kind of think people are just going to think you're stupid and tell you to snap out of it. But I actually was looking for somebody in the area to speak to, and contacted you and said, you know, because you've got the IEMT Academy, I thought you're the best person to ask if there's anyone on your list. Have you got a contact list? And you said, I can do online therapy. So I thought, well, yeah, why not? So I went for that. So it kind of, it's like fate. You know, I asked a question and you said, I'll do that. So,
well, yeah, I do, because, you know, because of the thing you're experiencing, I do have a lot of experience in this. So when it's other things, I will refer out to, but obviously, because we're in, I know we're kind of coming out of lockdown and everything now, we obviously can't, you couldn't see somebody face to face because it's against the rules. So I've been doing more and more sessions online with people. So you were experiencing problems. 11 years prior, you'd had a divorce from this particularly annoying husband who is still a presence in your life. You have 2 children together, family occasions, in a WhatsApp group, states of you could feel your blood pressure rising, you could feel anxiety building when you knew you were going to sort of be around and be near him because of his certain behaviours. It was causing problems in your current relationship. You had counselling, but you didn't want to go for long-term counselling. You felt that you couldn't go to your GP to get help for it. So you basically did some research and essentially got in contact with myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did 2 sessions together.
Yeah.
So just 2 online sessions together. And then the second session was, like, say, 2 weeks ago now. What did you think of the technique? What did you think of how it worked? And how have your results been?
Well, I deliberately didn't look into anything much in the way of what it was, except I did go on to, is it Andrew Austin? Yeah, I looked at, you know, what is it basically?
Yeah.
And the first thing he said is that by certain eye movements, you can, and I read, the next bit was, now you're all twiddling your eyes about, and I was doing that. I was thinking, how can that work? So I didn't read any further, and I thought, right, I don't want to go in with any preconceived ideas of what should happen, and I didn't want to say, because I know some people kind of, you ask them, like hypnotherapists, the sessions, you will say, how do you feel? And they'll say, I felt like I was almost asleep. And it's because you've already explained to them that you'll be, you know, on the verge of being asleep but not quite asleep. So I didn't want to, you know, kind of be too prescriptive about how I was supposed to react. So I had no idea what it was going to involve. But yeah, I don't know how it works. I'd quite like to research how that works, because it was with the movement you were making when you made. I was asked to hold on to a particular emotion or feeling that went with any memory I had. I mean, you asked me to write down some memories before the session, and I had 4 sides of A4 of particularly horrible memories. So I picked a bad one that I still, you know, makes my blood boil. And even now I can say that, and I'm just like I'm talking about somebody else now. But by hanging on to that feeling that's associated with that memory, follow the pattern of your fingers, and it was almost like the cross was actually crossing it out, and it felt like I was coming away from the picture and looking at it from the outside. Yeah. So yes, it's very odd.
So because we worked on a number of these memories that were like holding things together. And in the second session, we did more about the identity, didn't we? And updating the identity. So let me ask you, we did it online. I did the eye movement sort of online. After the first session, how was it over the next few days? Did lots of stuff come out? How was it?
I think it felt like my brain had been spring cleaned. So there was suddenly loads of space in my brain, and the next day, I could suddenly focus. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm quite easily distracted. You know, I quite often will be working and then think, oh, I wonder what's going on Facebook. You know, but I was able to focus more easily, and then I think after a few days, I was getting memories that I had completely forgotten about, but I was realizing that with more memories coming back of things that had happened in the past, you know, in either before, during, or after the marriage, I had no emotion connected to it at all. So it was just a memory. And then once it was in my head and it had gone again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's like refreshing.
And then we did the second session, and we focused more on your identity and getting you to sort of align your identities to who you are today, not, you know, kind of what happened. It's a bit harder to sort of explain as the identity work without doing it, which, sorry, just an ambulance going past or something, fire engine. It's not stopping here. So that was 2 weeks ago. You've already had some incidences where you would have run into your partners. So how has it been since?
Well, it is now. It's put it into perspective. It's the best way. It's made me. I can see him how other people see him now. So friends of mine have kind of said, "Oh no, he's just you know, swearing," and now I just think along those lines as well. Like it's just kind of. It doesn't bother me at all. I helped my daughter move house recently, and he had her dog for the day, dog sitting. And she was worried that, you know, he'd turn up to bring the dog back. And I said, don't worry about it. If he turns up, you know. And he said, oh, let me know when the coast is clear. And I said, if he says anything about me, because what he tends to do is says things to her, and then she kind of holds on to it and doesn't share it with me. I said, if he says anything, tell him to speak to me. I said, because it's not fair that you're in the middle. So, and I almost felt like, you know, I'd grown up almost, because he's been just acting like a school child for all these years, and now he's the one being pathetic and petty, and I'm just letting it, you know, it's water off a duck's back now. So it is very nice. It's a nice feeling.
Excellent. And let me ask you, how has it improved your general everyday life and also with your partner? Because it was causing some issues, wasn't it? So what's it like now? Have they noticed a difference in you? What's that like?
Yeah, I think the problems, there weren't problems as such, but it was, he could see if there was something, an event coming up, he could see I was starting to get worked up, you know, even if I didn't realise it. And then he'd be concerned on my behalf that something was going to happen to sort of kick it off again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the problems were just that he was almost like looking after me, you know, and worrying about my welfare. Yeah. But now it's just like a normal, you know, things are normal, so I'm free to nag him for not doing the washing up and things like that. But yeah, it's just so much. I feel more relaxed now, and I just feel like I have kind of grown up. And I think the best way, when I left the marriage, the best way of describing after I left, I said I'm not scared of him anymore, and that was a big step to take. Yeah. And that it's like that again. And I'm not only that I'm not scared of him anymore, but I don't care about him at all, whether it's, you know, hate or whatever else whatever emotion went with it. I don't give a stuff anymore.
And this is what IEMT allows you to do. It's not giving you an emotion. Again, it's the reduction of the emotion that you have towards events and people, just so you can actually become more present in your life and focus on what you want to do. Yeah. Without all this sort of turmoil. And again, this is like an 11-year-old problem that's been going on. And you could have spent months in talking therapy.
Yeah, years.
Yeah, without necessarily getting the results that you've achieved in just 2 sessions doing IEMT. So I'm not saying it's like a magic wand or a fix-all approach, but it really helps to give, again, once you give somebody that distance from the problems and they see it from a different perspective, it just
Yeah.
helps to. Well, cool. We're about done, really. We sort of understand what the problems you're having, you know, why it came to you and why you sort of sought IEMT. So as a practitioner as well, what do you think about IEMT? Do you think people should learn this? Because again, it's not a very well-known therapy
No.
as of yet. So as a practitioner, what do you think about IEMT as an actual therapy model?
I think it's for me personally, I knew what my problem was, and I knew it's kind of one thing. So if somebody can pinpoint their problem, like I was able to pinpoint certain emotions or certain events, then it was almost easier for me to deal with it. But it's definitely something I want to go on and learn, because you can be dealing with someone in counselling or hypnotherapy, and then they might suddenly say, oh, there's this one particular thing that, and that'd be ideal for dealing with that, rather than, you know, going through all the motions of counselling for months on end, and they don't really know.
Absolutely. I always say that basically IEMT makes your other therapy work better, or whatever you're doing, whether it be coaching, hypnotherapy, CBT, 12-step. If you're using IEMT on the main things like the memories, the emotions, and the identities of yourself and other people, it really helps you to take on a new skill set or a new mindset to really develop yourself. And again, it makes everything that you're doing work better. So I want to just thank you for your time today. Long may your changes continue, and you know, again, your quality of life to improve, because I know what it's like when you've got this nagging thing, you know, at the back of this constant source of stress, and not just because of what has happened, but because of having to see them and being in your life still, obviously bonded through having children. But it's really great to hear that now you just don't really care, it just doesn't affect you, and that will obviously have a good impact on your general well-being on a day-to-day basis and just make things happier. So cool. I want to say a massive thank you for taking your time out today, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. Okay. Bye. Bye.